Indian Christians. Meanwhile, in India, during Gandhi's absence, the new viceroy had made arrests without warrant, had suspended court trials, had outlawed political organizations and meetings, had seized property, had jailed 100,000. Gandhi returned to India. His wife and young Jawaharlal Nehru and the numberless followers of Gandhi now call him Bapu, the father. Bapu began his work immediately. His first consideration was for that part of the great Indian family called the Untouchables. For thousands of years they had been ostracized, but Gandhi ignored this strange mandate of the culture, and he gave them a new name, Harijan, children of God. The British, however, perpetuated this ancient tradition of separating the Untouchables by insisting that they have a separate vote in governmental matters. Gandhi now vigorously expressed his opposition to English treatment of the Harijan. And on January 4th, 1932, all India heard that he had been put in jail. Then they heard that Gandhi had gone on a fast. In the face of seething unrest throughout the land, the government took action. The 3,000 years of the untouchable segregation was brought to an end. But Gandhi recognized that official legislation would not be enough. Released from prison in September, he set out to change the heart of tradition-binded India in its attitude toward the Harijan. The Congress Party's program to shape a new India was slowly proceeding. The people were spinning their own cotton. Many of the oppressive British laws had been changed. The women had been given equality. The untouchables had been freed. And the country and the people had a dignity they had never known. Gandhi was dissatisfied. He was still looking for the answer to the great enigmas that were embedded in the life of his countrymen. So on October 24th, 1934, he announced his resignation from Congress. The essential life of India, he believed, lay in its 700,000 villages. With his wife, Kasturbai, he moved to Severgrad and began life as a simple villager. The world refused to accept his resignation. Congress leaders came to confer with this simple villager. Famous people of many nations and continents came to sit and talk in his one-room adobe hut. The floor was of swept earth, one rug, a spinning wheel, a soapbox for a desk. For a period of 4 years, Gandhi labored to develop communal life in the villages. Then a new unrest began to shadow India. England was threatened with war. What did that mean to India's hope for freedom? In 1938, Gandhi was forced back into politics. Serious differences of opinion began to manifest themselves in the Congress. Chandra Bose, now the Congress leader, was saying to the populace, "Give me blood, and I promise you freedom." Gandhi said, "Nations are violently giving demonstration of savage and futile warfare as a means of settling their differences. Now is the time to demonstrate nonviolence as the better means of seeking agreement and truth." In 1939, when the war exploded over Europe and Asia, there were many who followed Bose. Nonviolence was too idealistic, too difficult, too slow. On March 22nd, 1942, Sir Stafford Cripps met with the Congress leaders and proposed that a new Indian constitution be drawn up after the war. Gandhi called this proposal a post-dated check and left the meeting not to return. He now had but 2 words to say to their English overlords: "Quit India." These words electrified India. They set off an outburst of demonstrations throughout the land. The jails were filled far beyond their capacity. Gandhi and Kasturbai were among the prisoners. And while imprisoned, Gandhi's beloved Kasturbai died, her head in her husband's lap. For 62 years they had been married. Gandhi said of her, "She was more of me than I was of myself." After a dangerously weakening fast, the 75-year-old man was released from prison on May 6th. 75 years. What had been accomplished? Muslim and Hindu were hatefully engaged in outbreaks against each other. Britain still held India in a crushing grip. The world's warring temperament was creeping over Gandhi's people. Still he went on, working, searching, praying. Then, on historic August 12th, 1946, Jawaharlal Nehru, Gandhi's friend, was commissioned by Sir Archibald Wavell to form the Indian government. While the new premier reviewed the troops at the frontier, Gandhi quietly and patiently traveled among the Muslims and Hindus who were at civil war with each other. But he went to Noakhali, a district 80% Muslim, on a pilgrimage of personal penance because Gandhi believed he shared the guilt for this internal strife. He walked from village to village, living with them, learning from them, trying to teach them to love despite their deep-rooted enmity. His followers, too, went to work in the villages, Hindus, Muslims, Harijans, Christians. And at his meetings for prayer, the Bible, the Quran, the Talmud, the Gita, all were read with reverence. The riots quieted. And on August 15th, 1947, the flag of independence flew over emancipated India. Free India, proud India, jubilant India. Pakistan was declared a separate Muslim state, according to the demands of Jinnah and the Muslim League. While the people celebrated, the British withdrew their military forces. Although there were problems still to be worked out, this was the consummation of Gandhi's dream. India stood before all nations as a symbol that nonviolence can be an invincible force. It can bring about the peaceful solution of international differences. And so independence came to India. And at the center of all, Gandhi, father, Bapu. But Bapu was not at the festivities. He had spent the day fasting and praying. There was still much work to do. He was growing old. His days were drawing close. On January 30th, 1948, at 5:30, Gandhi went from Birla House to his prayer meeting. A man who feared Gandhi's teaching and power stepped forward and bowed to him. The man fired a gun. And so Mahatma Gandhi, a great soul, finished with his life. At dawn they dressed him in the loincloth which he had spun, and which throughout the world had become a respected symbol. There were garlands of flowers. The flag of India was draped over him. After the procession, the body was burned. And the ashes were sent to 6 continents and to all parts of India. But the spirit of the man had long preceded the particles of ash. His spirit was alive in the land, releasing truth, drawing people into relationships of understanding and trust, achieving dignified human stature, demonstrating the invincible power of love.